Hello and welcome to another fun one. Here we're going to open up a brand new box of the 1990 Pro Set Official Football Association cards in America, otherwise known as soccer. So we're going to tear right into this. It is the first time I have opened up packs like these, so definitely be curious to see how the cards feel, how the photos are. But if they're anything like the early 90s Pro Set cards, they should be pretty consistent with the American football and other Pro Sets from the same era. What's really interesting, though, is there are 48 packs in here. 48. 9 cards per pack. So whereas most boxes of the era had around 36 packs, and I think around 14 cards per pack, they went a little different here, doing 48 packs and 9 cards per pack. So we're going to dive in here, and we're going to do one stack of packs. That may be a new record to do 12, and we'll see what this set is all about. Here we have our podium. The best cards that we find will go there, and we'll cycle them out until there is only one remaining, and that'll be the winner of the day. And we'll talk about players, talk about pricing, and with that, let's dive right in. All right, first one, let's see what it's all about. All right, so here we've got the back of the cards, a little bit of an angled text approach, and the numbering on the top right. And the front of the card looks like a really nice edge-to-edge photos on these. The names go up, and those moving across some of the card dust, but very cool. And so there are a few in here that will have some collector value in modern times, and we'll note them as we go through. The rest are going to be pretty much commons and have not too much value unless someone's looking for a single, in which case, maybe $1 or $2 for that card. But we'll check them out. You may know some of these names. We may learn some of these as we go. Lee Power. That's just a cool name for any sport. And here's John Kay. And Simon Tracy. And of course, these teams are primarily based in the UK. Crystal Palace. We have Bernard Shaw. And Peter Shilton from Derby County. Alexei Sherdnik. If you know of a better way to pronounce that, definitely let me know. Jimmy Case. It's a cool photo. Paul Bracewell. And David Speedy, Coventry City. All right, that's pack one. These are pretty quick packs. Again, they have 9 cards per pack, which is, I think, a little unique from the Pro Set of that era, which typically had more. And Tottenham Hotspur, we got Paul Stewart. Let's see if we can get that in focus. There we go. Paul Beasley from Sheffield United. Ruben Agbula, Sunderland. In terms of the card quality, they're okay. They're not super thick, not very heavy. I think some of the other cards in the era are maybe a little heavier. The colors aren't super bright. They're there, but I think some other cards have had, like other sets and series have had much richer colors, in the photos. Some glossy finish to it. This is a little bit more of a matte finish, and even the layout, they're cool layouts, though they're not, some of the most comprehensive layouts for a card are very, very design heavy. So interesting. Definitely interesting. First time seeing these, and let's see who we can get. So in terms of who we're looking for, there's a couple players. There's going to be a Gary Speed card. We're also looking for a, let me just check something right here. Nope. Wolf Rostron. That's a cool name. Or Wilf. And Darren McDonough. So yeah, we're looking for Gary Speed, Gary Pallister, Roy Keane would be a big one to get. Alan Shearer as well. So let's see who's in here. We have a whole stack to go through, so I think we'll have some good potential. And Luther Blissett. We got John Pemberton. Eddie McGoldrick. Gary Pallister. And there we go. One of the ones we're looking for. Awesome. So here's the Gary Pallister from Manchester United, Man U. And this card in a PSA 10 is worth around $25. So not wild, knock your socks off. Though in terms of this set, one of the more valuable cards. So 10s are hard to get, and 25 is probably the cost of grading it. But for now, Gary will take our podium spot as we keep on cruising through this series with Jeff Eckhart. And Stephen Yates, Gordon Armstrong, and Lars Alstrup. All right, and since we have 12 packs, I'm going to try to get speedy with it so we're not here forever, but we still get to look at everything and get a feel for the set and the players. Chris Price. And what I wonder is if there's kind of a theme or so where the more desirable cards are from teams like Manchester United, or if there's any kind of pattern to where the value may be. And what I do keep in mind as well is since these aren't the highest quality cardstock or ink or printing, I wonder if it's especially difficult to get, high grade cards in this set, just given that to begin with they weren't the highest output, highest quality cards to start. But the packs are easy to open. It's kind of like a plasticky wrapper and not really foil. So that's one element to it. And yeah, we've got Tony Norman, Raymond Atveld, Andy Gray, Kevin Gallacher from Coventry City, Lee Sinote, Brian McClare, Ray Houghton, and Gary Owers. All right, cruising through these. Now I wonder what it would feel like if you're a collector to buy, at least in that era, when packs usually had 14 cards, what it would feel like getting a pack of 9 cards. And I wonder if when they sold these, if the price was lower, instead of $1 a pack, was it 75 cents a pack, or something, or if it was still enough demand to charge the regular pack price, but to only get 9 cards. So I don't know. If you know, please share, or if you collected, definitely share that with us. Alan Shearer. All right, this one seems to be a big one, so it's going to get the horn and the fire. All right, in a PSA 10, this is around a $230 card. So let's check out the front and get that in focus. It's looking in pretty good shape for the type of card and the age. So we're going to put that into a sleeve. And do a little more learning about it and the condition and things like that. Though very cool to pull one of the potentially most valuable cards in the set with Alan Shearer and from Southampton. So he's going to take our podium spot, and we will continue ripping through these and see what comes up. Next up, we have David Priest and Cyril Regis from Coventry City. And away we go. I do like the ease at which these packs open. Dennis Wise, Gary Robson, and yeah, I wonder how popular this set was, for example, probably in Europe to a degree more than the United States, though compared to other cards, because in the early 90s, there were so many different types of cards out there, from sport cards to non-sport cards to pretty much anything that was around. There would be cards made for it. So I wonder if this at the time was popular, or if it was just another card set issued along with everything else that was going on. But still interesting to see. Obviously a lot of players and some really, really prominent teams, and one of the most, if not the most popular sport in the world. So definitely some history here and interesting photos too. So if you had any favorite players from this era, definitely share that. And any stories from collecting the set, or anything that you may have done when these first came out. Would love to hear about that, and kind of get some first-hand insight into what it was like at the time. And we're cruising through. Martin Hodge, Peter Reed, Dean Emerson, Romeo Zondervan. It's a cool name. Gary McAllister from Leeds United. And Steve Nicol, Liverpool. Mick McCarthy. Mick. Double Mick. And we've got Mark Azelwood. Another cool name. Danny Wallace, Manchester United. Gary Lund. Chris White. Steve Livingstone, Coventry City. Chris Kiwomya from Ipswich Town. And Steve Clark. Tony DiRigo. And Mark Stein. All right, we have 2 packs left in this very seemingly quick opening. We got Nick Pickering. So yeah, this set seems very quick in general. It's there's not a lot of info on the cards, though there are some cool photos, and not a lot of cards per pack. So interesting configuration. Steve Cherry, Brian Laws, Sari Evans, and Gary Stevens, Alan McLown, Paul Rideout, Andy Thorne. All right, just like that, faster than probably ever before, we are at the last pack of the stack of an especially tall stack of 12 packs. I feel like we've got some sort of a rhyme going on, or maybe a new rap lyric. We can work on that. We'll do both card opening and hip hop freestyle. So get ready. We're working on it. We've got John Eberle and John Sheridan, Mick Quinn, Frank McVaney, Richard Cadet, Matthew Letizier, Jason Dodd, David Burrows, and lastly we have Alan Smith from Arsenal winding down this stack. All right, so let's check out what we've got. Our champion of the day is going to be Alan Shearer, and we have Gary Pallister right along there with him for some of the biggest names in the sport at the time in this 1990 Pro Set Soccer, otherwise known to the rest of the world as football, series of cards. So there you have it. I hope you learned something, and I hope you had some fun. And until next time.